one of the biggest financial YouTubers of all time, Graham Stephan. He's very well known for all his passive income and how to save money videos. Here are the best 5 ways to build passive income that Graham Stephan uses to this day. But before we get into it, I want to make one thing super clear. Passive income doesn't truly exist. It's impossible to get money consistently without having to do any work. For most passive income ideas, you'll always have to do some work in the beginning to get them up and running. But if I can do this while working a job, going to college, and looking at memes every day, then you can too. Getting passive income is going to take a lot of effort and consistency. And it's important to know this before getting started so you know what to expect. I think of passive income as a way of investing into your future self so you don't have to work a typical job in the future anymore. When that day comes, you will have truly achieved financial freedom. And then you can pursue your passions, travel the world, or stay at home and not have to worry about money. But so we can get to that goal quicker, let's get started with this video. One of the best ways Graham Stephan makes passive income you can get started with pretty much right now is dividends. Owning a stock of a great company means that you will profit whenever that company profits. And how much you profit is dependent on how many shares you own of that stock. When a company pays its investors out a small piece of what they make, that's what is called a dividend. An example that Graham Stephan used in one of his videos is the Cheesecake Factory's dividend yield. They will pay you a 2.44% dividend yield on your money every single year, which basically means that for every $100 that you invest with the Cheesecake Factory, you'll get back $2.44 every year in passive income. I personally find this number extremely low, but that is why you do your research and find reliable stocks that pay out a higher dividend yield. For example, AT&T pays you almost 6.9% every year. This way you would get back $6.9 every year instead of $2.44 with the Cheesecake Factory. If you can find a good list of high dividend paying stocks, you'll eventually be able to get to $100 a day passively. Not that quickly, depends on how much you can invest, but if you dollar cost average, it's going to take some time, but you can get there. $100 a day in passive income is a lot, and it might take a lot of time because it can require maybe at least around $500,000 in investments, so you can get $100 a day. And this is why you need patience and consistency. But also don't forget that the price of the stock can also go up on its own if it's a good company like Apple or Tesla. It's so important to invest wisely into dividend stocks and invest in only companies that you believe will work out in the future, and not just because they pay out a high dividend. Now, this next passive income idea is one of Graham Stephan's favorites, and it's also one of my personal favorites, and it's called rental income. If you're willing to put in the effort and money into this idea, I can almost guarantee you that it will be worth it. This is also what Graham Stephan did full-time for the first 10 years of his career, and it's how he managed to make a fortune in his early days. He also mentioned in one of his videos that over 90% of US millionaires are invested into real estate, which means that you should really consider this option because it just might be the one. Now, before you get started with this, you need to have 3 important things ready first. Number 1 is a good credit score over 700. Number 2 is a stable source of income like a job. And number 3 is enough money saved up for a down payment. If you can manage to get these 3 things checked out, then please don't miss out on the opportunity of getting into real estate rental income. So if you're ready to get into this, let me give you a quick example on what to do. Let's say you found a small apartment for sale for $200,000. Its rent would normally cost $1,400 a month. If you put a 15% down payment, then you'll pay $30,000 up front, and your monthly payment for the house would be around $1,100 a month, considering other expenses as well. What you'd want to do is go ahead and renovate the house so you can add more value to it, and then try to rent it out for $1,500 a month. Subtract your $1,100 for expenses, and you're left with $400 in profit every month. Plus, you'll eventually get to keep the house after the mortgage is fully paid for. What you can also do is rent out an unused bedroom in the apartment and live in the other one. This way you'll save a lot of money because you won't be paying rent for another place that you'll be staying at. Now, I didn't really think this one would be on the list, but apparently it's one of Graham Stephan's top earners. So in 3rd place comes cryptocurrency. Buying cryptocurrency and holding it or forgetting about it technically isn't passive income. But the reason cryptocurrency is on the list is because there's a lot of websites out there that allow you to hold your crypto with them and get paid interest in return. But I would like to let you guys know in advance that this method is probably the riskiest one on today's list. So you need to acknowledge that there's always a chance that you lose everything in a heartbeat. And the interest rates they show you will probably be lower by next year. But so far, Graham Stephan said that he's been pretty happy with his cryptocurrency investments and he's going to keep them and keep adding more onto them. And if you have some money you want to experiment with and maybe even make some back, sure, go ahead, because for sure it's a nice experience and you'll definitely learn a lot from it. Although I wouldn't recommend just relying on cryptocurrency to make you passive income. I would try to dive deeper into rental income and dividends instead. If you normally watch Graham's videos, you'd know what this next one is for sure, because in 4th place comes index funds. In his opinion, this is the easiest way with as little work as possible to create passive income. A simple way to explain what index funds are is by comparing them to an individual stock. For example, you have stocks like Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Walmart, etc. An index fund would be a combination of multiple stocks that you can invest into at one singular price, as if you're investing into one stock. If you've heard of the S&P 500 before, it is the perfect example of an index fund. This is similar to investing in dividends because it's practically the same, except a lot less risky and more rewarding. You can get started with this by investing into things like the FISROX or VTSAX, which are both total stock market index funds. If you look at the charts, these type of index funds have been returning around 8% a year, which is a pretty high number. This would definitely be the type of investment I'd go into, and I would dollar cost average into it, which basically means, for example, instead of investing $12,000 at once, I would invest $1,000 every month for the remainder of the year. Because as I said, with dividends, in order to make a lot of money with this type of passive income idea, you'd first need to invest a lot of money. And last but not least, this method is very underrated and unthought of. In fifth place comes cutting back on your expenses and saving the difference. This is something that Graham Stephan is very famous for doing because he saves as much money as humanly possible. He even bought his own coffee maker at home because he realized he spent way too much money at coffee shops. There was an article on one of his videos that said average Americans spend almost $18,000 a year on non-essentials. If you go through your budget and track your spendings and cut out all the non-essential spendings, you will find yourself saving a lot of money that you didn't even think was slipping away from you so easily. So let's say, for example, you save $500 a month. Think of it as if you're actually making an extra $500 a month, and that's where it makes the difference. And the money you can save will add up, and everyone watching this video can save some amount of money, even if it's as little as $10 a day, which is $3,650 a year. And that's what I mean by it adds up. Doing this and investing your money into dividends or index funds will add up in the future. And as Graham Stephan says, all you need to do is start today.